Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the brand new Football Manager 22 series that we're going to be doing on the channel. It's a secret at the moment what team we're going to be. So I'm just going to set all of the manager settings as they are. I'm going to leave them as the default options. I'm not going to change them or do anything with them. Just going to get straight into the save. See if you can guess who the team's going to be. And I hope you enjoy what is in store. Hopefully I will as well, and hopefully I won't get sacked. So stay with us and you'll soon find out exactly who we're going to be. There we have it. We are the mighty Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League in England. Can't wait to get started. Right, so as you can see, the media predictions 13th for Wolves. Got a pretty decent reputation. Obviously, they're a well-established Premier League side. £20 million budget, which is pretty decent for, if you consider the media predictions 13th, you've got 20 million with the squad that's available as well, which we'll go through in a little while. I think that's a decent amount of money. Excellent training facilities, excellent youth facilities. Even the youth recruitment is good. So it's a promising side to start with. As you can tell, I've got the Zealand skin on. If any of you aren't aware of who Zealand is, then I'll put his link down in the description below, and I'll see if I can put the link in for the skin as well, because it's absolutely tremendous. And likewise with Zealand's videos, if you haven't seen any of them, I highly recommend going and subscribing to him, because he's an absolutely fantastic Football Manager YouTuber. So this is the alleged best 11 team report. If we're going to be playing with a 5 at the back, which I've not entirely decided upon yet. In previous Football Managers, my favourite formation has been 4-2-3-1. I do really want to try out the wide centre backs. Whether or not Dendoncker and Bolly have got the ability to play as a wide centre back, not too sure. Obviously, the central midfield area is fantastic. In terms of squad depth, I don't really think there's much in the way of backup players, so we may need to dip into the market to try and find a decent midfielder. Obviously, I know Paulinho starts the game as a free agent, so that's a possibility that we could dip into there to bring him in. Semedo and Otto at fullbacks. Again, I think they've got all the attributes that you would need. Obviously, we'll go through that in a bit more detail when we go into the actual tactics. Adama, I feel as though he's one of those players that he plays and performs a lot better in game than his stats suggest. But if I can get a decent fee for him, I think I might try and shift him on. We've got Trincao on loan. So it may well be that I'll switch Neto over to the right and have Trincao on the left, or vice versa. If we're sticking with this formation, obviously. I think Hwang as well is a potential. I've not seen his stats. I won't spoil them now. We'll leave that until we get to the tactics. But Hwang, based on his real life ability, there's a high potential there for him to come in. So there's a decent amount of ability there in the squad from what we can see so far from the alleged best 11. So it should be a decent save. I think the only sticking point here is the signed Portuguese players. Obviously, there's only going to be a limit on how many you can bring in terms of the ability that they're going to improve the team by. There's going to be a gap between the players that are going to improve the team, and then obviously your elite level players like Jota, obviously Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. Those types of players not going to be able to get straight away. So we'll have to have a scour through that to make sure that we meet in the club's vision. Play entertaining football. The way that I play previously and the way that I'm looking to play this is going to be expansive football anyway, so that shouldn't be a problem. Develop players using the club's youth system. Obviously, we've already seen there's a decent recruitment set up for youth. There's also a good youth facility, so we should be able to, hopefully in the future as well, bring in hopefully bring in a golden generation. So we'll just have to wait and see with that one. Work within the wage budget, obviously that's easy enough to do. End of current season, top half finish. I think that's more than reasonable with the squad that's available. Carabao Cup and FA Cup, obviously we'll take it as far as we can. Hopefully we'll get a good draw. Good teams will go out early and we'll have a coasting route through to the final. Hopefully win it. And then next season they want us to qualify for the Euro Cup too. So that's obviously a bit of a lot more long-term game, but we'll move on. Thing that I do before I even look at any news items or go into any contract details about players that are going to be having their contracts up in about a year's time, I'd automatically just go straight away to the squad. That should hopefully give us a bit of an idea as to where we need to strengthen, what areas of the team need more depth, where we've got standout players. As you can see, filter this by position. So Jose Sarr and John Ruddy as goalkeepers. John Ruddy doesn't fill me with confidence being a backup keeper straight away. His stats though, they're not terrible. They're not terrible. Let's just click on his actual profile. The stats there, they're not terrible. I think he should be okay for the first season anyway. In terms of a backup goalkeeper, you look, compare him to Jose Sarr. Actually, comparing to John Ruddy, I don't think there's that much difference. Shot stopping seems to be the main thing. Sarr's better at, and a little bit, he's a bit stronger mentally. I'm not overly fond of a keeper that's got high eccentricity. I mean, it does mean that they can pull off more dramatic saves, but it does also mean that they end up punching the ball when they should be catching it, and it can lead to mistakes. We'll see how it plays out in the game anyway. I think we'll start with Sarr as the starting keeper. Depends on what formation we're going to play. We'll stick with the five at the back for now. Let's see what we've got in the defence. We've got Cody Kilman, Mosquera, Bolly, and Dendonka can play there as well, really, and Keanu Hoiber as well. I think was Johnny out for 4 to 5 months. Right, so we're going to be playing Nate Newry, who isn't terrible. Like, we're looking at a fullback. He's not tremendous, but as a wing back, or at least an attacking fullback anyway, he's got everything there for a 20-year-old as well. So I think what we're going to look at for our main tactic, you think about the players that you've got in the squad. You've got Matinho and Neves in the central midfield area. They are going to want to control possession. So you're going to want to play probably a tiki-taka. I mean, you can go gegenpress with the high intensity of Jimenez up front as well. I think if we're going to use a gegenpress, I would probably use that for when we play away against the stronger teams, and use the tiki-taka for when we're at Molineux. So we'll go with that one for now. I didn't mean to do that. We can change it. I always have it as a home tactic, and I would always have it set as positive. So in possession, with Adama, Neto, and Trincao, you're going to want it to be a little bit wider. I've never really used the pass into space. I think I'll stick with what I know for now. Using the overlaps, making sure we get the best use out of Sonido and Nuri, obviously, for while Johnny's injured. Passing directness, I do like that just to be average, a mix of passing. The tempo, I'm going to want that to be slightly higher. Time wasting, I've never really been a fan of in the game. You can always implement it in the game when you feel as though it's necessary. Having it set as a starting bit of the tactic, I just feel as though you'll be time wasting in like the first half when it's completely not necessary. Right, so we've got crosses. If you think about who we've got up front, we've got Jimenez. When Jimenez isn't there, you're going to have Hwang, really, realistically. So they're not the types of players that are going to be looking for. Although Jimenez is good in the air, I think you're going to want low cross. I think low crosses is probably going to be hit early crosses and shoot on sight. The work into box never really seems to work for me when I've played before. Obviously, we can change it up as the season goes. If things don't go our way, we can mix about with different stuff. Always have a run at defence, especially when you've got like the likes of Adama and Trincao, and being more expressive. You're at home, you need to be dominating that. So we'll go in transition. Counter press. When possession's been won, you want to be hitting people on the counter. Goalkeeper in possession. I'm going to go with slow pace down, because if you're going to be quickening stuff up, I think it's going to overcomplicate things. And then we've got Neves in midfield, so you're going to want to distribute to playmaker where possible, and take short kicks. Out of possession. Yeah, high line of engagement. Might just drop that slightly, the defensive line, because the players that we've got at the back in central areas anyway, Bolly, Cody, Kiani Hoiver potentially, they're not super quick, but they've got decent enough pace to not get caught out all the time with balls over the top. But if you're playing against a fast striker, it's just not going to work. I don't think so. I think defensive line sitting there should be fine. Stay on feet, prevent, and use tighter marking. And that should be fine for now. I think that should be enough. So if we click onto our squad, we'll put Summer in goal. For the friendlies and pre-season, I'll have Ruddy as substitute number 1. I'm quite old school with that. I like to have the positions in the numbered position matching the actual outfield position, or also goalkeeper 1, right back 2, left back 3, etc. So in terms of centre halves, Bolly is a very good defender. I think you're going to want to play him in the centre. Not as a ball playing defender, though. I think we're going to be playing Cody. I think Cody's going to be, what's his passing like? 15 passing, vision 15. You have to play Cody, don't you? So I'll put him in, and then 8 Nuri. We'll have our going back on support. And Semedo. That's the right fullback. I've got Mosquera. He's okay. He'll do his backup. Kilman, obviously in real life, he's got a lot more exposure. And in game as well, his stats are better. So I think with Mosquera, we can probably actually send him down to the 23 squad for now. Right, so we've got the defence set up. Size. I think we're going to be using Size as a substitute centre half. Yeah. I suppose you can always dip into midfield if we ever have an issue with Neves and Moutinho. Same with Dendoncker as well. Tackling 14, marking 13, heading 16. He's decent as a centre half. It's just he's a well-rounded player. Not exceptional really in any area, but not lacking in any particular areas either. If anything, if it's going to be picky, his mental column isn't as good or strong as it could be. But work rate, teamwork, concentration, anticipation, they're all brilliant stats to have at 15. So again, I think that needs to be substitute 5. We're going to be playing Neves. And what's happened with this tactic here? Right, okay, so in that instance then, we're going to be playing there. We'll have Neves at the base as the pivot by himself as a deep line playmaker. And then we'll have Moutinho, and I think this is where we're going to put in Dendoncker, which will then open up a bench spot for players that we don't have. This is why I was saying we're lacking really in the central midfield area, because one injury to Moutinho, Neves or Dendoncker and we've got Sice and that's it. Cody can obviously always drop in there and we can move somebody into centre half, but it's not ideal. I'm going to filter this out to take out the players on loan. Don't need them there. Not in the club. Right, so we've got Pedence as well. I've forgotten about him. He's wanted by West Ham. Value of 13 to 16 million. I'm sure Wolves paid more than that for him. Or at least it was in installments that was going to go. But yeah, they've paid 16.5 for him. His value should be more than that. What's Trincal's stats like? I think Trincal has to start, doesn't he, with those stats? I'm sure there's an option to buy with him as well. 25 million. That's a steal. I know Barca are in a really poor financial position, but 25 million for Trincao when I'm pretty certain they paid quite a lot. Yeah, they paid 27.5. So with the loan fees and everything, they're really not going to get much of their money back, if any. That's interesting. Traore, unbelievable pace and strength, unbelievable dribbling. He's not been done dirty this year on his crossing. I'm sure it was 11, possibly 12 before, passing 11. He's wanted as well. Who's wanted him? Spurs. Did Spurs come in with a bid for him when you've got your likes of Pedence who can play either side, Trincao can play either side, Neto can play either side. He's out for a while though. So we've got 3. Hwang as well. Hwang can play right or left as well. Hwang is probably more of an inside forward. So you play Hwang on the left. inside forward. And then Trincao on the right as an inside forward. I think I will play him as an inside forward on the right. And then we can have Pedence as substitute 6. Because we just don't have anybody in central midfield to come into that position on the bench. And then it's obviously Jimenez up front. I'll probably change him from a deep lying forward to a pressing forward just because of his acceleration and pace. His stamina's 14. I think that's really harsh for the amount of work that Jimenez puts in off the ball. I mean, his work rate is stupendously high at 18, which is fair. He doesn't come off in games, though. Like, if you look at his... he starts a lot of games, and he doesn't come off in many. Obviously, he spent the majority of last season injured with that fractured skull. But 2 38-game seasons in a row in the Premier League with a goal return of, which is pretty much 1 in 2. Albert's Fabio Silva, because he's normally a wonder kid. He's just listed as a striker now. But they're not bad stats for a backup striker that's 18. So we'll put him in as substitute 7. And we'll filter that so we can see anyone we've missed. We've missed Kilman. We'll put Kilman in as number 5 for now. So that's the first tactic pretty much underway. We've got the sides selected. We'll just quickly dip into the 23s and have a look at the players there. There's a lot of injuries. Oscar Burr was a fullback. Oh wow. He is 23. He looks as though he could be decent backup. Meriton Shabani's always been a promising looking player. Again, he looks as though he could be promising as well. He's got to fit into a tactic with a central attacking midfielder though. It's the only downside to Shabani because I don't have that in that first tactic. But if you're looking at his stats, passing, technique, vision, composure, first touch are all 12. He could play comfortably as a central midfielder, I think. Oh yeah, he can play central midfield. Naturally as well. So, I might call him up. How long is he out for though? 5 to 6 months. Harvey Griffiths. First touch, technique, but nothing else. Yeah, we're going to have to dip into the market, I think. So what we'll do on our next video, I think once we've established what players we're going to look for, I think in the next video that's going to be what we're going to do. Set up some kind of short list of players, positions that we need. Definitely going to need central midfield. I would possibly like to bring in, if we do end up selling Adama Traore, I think we're going to need cover in the wide positions because we've only got Trincao, Hwang, Pedence. Otherwise, Neto's out until gone January. Or maybe not. Maybe he might be back around red just for the Christmas period in January. So he's basically going to be like a new signing come January. Same with Johnny. Bruno Jordão might come back before then. Who is very capable. Now you can cover Neves' position as well. That's the thing with the tactic we're playing. We've only really got the players that are in the starting 11 who can play in that defensive midfield pivot role. So we might have to bring in someone specifically to play as a deep line playmaker. for Neves. So I think that's what we'll do in the next video. So if you've got any ideas about any people that we could sign, any suggestions on tweaks to the tactics, or suggestions on what roles each player should play within the selected positions, then if you put those in the comments, that'd be fantastic. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, please leave a like and subscribe. It'll really help out. It's a really, really new channel. I'm trying to grow as much as I can, hopefully as quickly as I can. But this is just something that I enjoy doing. So please, like I say, if you do enjoy it, leave some feedback for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra.